Hello, this is my 1979 Briggs Stratton Sno-Gard winter engine. It's a 5 horsepower, 206cc engine at 3600 RPM. It idles around 1800 RPM and it throttles all the way up to about 4100 RPM, and that's how it came from the factory, governed. So, you know, at 4100 RPM, it's actually significantly higher. It's probably more like 8 or 9 horsepower if you run it at full throttle. So here's the throttle built onto it. Halfway is about 3600 RPM. Okay, you had the throttle built onto the engine here. You got your choke knob here, and you can also hook a throttle cable up down there if you wanted to. It's got the shields and everything. It's in immaculate condition. It was removed from a Gilson snowblower, and it's been shelved for about over 10 years now. It's clean. It's immaculate. It's in immaculate mechanical condition. It has the electric starter, which this electric starter unit alone is worth about $100, and they're pretty hard to come by. And for a winter engine, it makes it a lot easier to start this engine in the cold snow. A lot easier. A couple other things to note. Originally it did have a points and condenser. As that, you can see, that's the original coil with the original paint. And I have Magnetron electronic ignitions. So I went ahead and changed this over to electronic ignition. So that means that you don't ever have to worry about points or condenser on this. It's got electronic ignition, which is much more reliable, gives you a nice hot spark, and on a winter engine, you know, that's really good to have. So you don't have to ever worry about dealing with the points and condensers again. They're back there, dead. You got your electronic ignition coil. Okay. It's got your standard 5/8 wide shaft. It's 2 3/8 long. Keyway groove tapped. What else? I mean, as you can see, it's a really clean engine. It really didn't get that much use. You know, the shields have very little surface rust, which they did their job of keeping the snow out, right? So this engine is, you know, it runs excellent. It's clean. It'll be a perfect replacement engine for a snowblower or many other things, mini bike, you name it. Okay. Other things to note. So yeah, it's a 1979. It's model 130202, type 059202, and the code is 7906260, which means it was built in 1979 in May, and on the 26th it looks like. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start her up. It's got nice fresh gas in it, non-ethanol gas. It never had ethanol gas put in it because it was shelved before ethanol was really standard, and you know, it was run dry before it was shelved. It's got good clean oil. Obviously it'll be shipped dry. Let me just move these coils off this bench real quick. And I'll go ahead and use the electric starter since I have it. Put the tachometer on to show, you know, what ranges it runs in. Like I said, it goes up to 4100 RPM safely, so it's got a lot of good power to it. Another thing to note, these engines are a lot better than the modern overhead valve intakes that they're building now and putting on snowblowers. This engine, it's got a lot more pep. It was made in the USA, and it's solid. So I would like to keep the electric starter with the engine. Obviously, if I was to pull that off, that's $100, and then the engine would be cheaper without the electric starter if somebody was interested in just the engine. But I would like to keep it together, because like I said, with that electric starter, it makes this thing start up really easy, and with the electronic ignition, it makes it even easier. So, but like I said, if I was to remove the electric starter and just sell the engine, I could do that, and then the engine would be a bit cheaper, and obviously if I remove the electric starter and have it, I would be able to sell that separately, but would like to keep it together. Great setup though. Like I said, you got the muffler built in to the shield, so it keeps it warm in there, so snow can't get in. As you can see, the choke linkages are hooked up like that inside. You know, you still have access to everything, nice and easy. Alright, now I'll go ahead and do a quick start of it. Might as well use the electric starter since I have it. Put it on choke. Put about half throttle, which is already right there, 3,600 RPM I'd say, and we'll start her up. RPM. Purrs like a kitten. Great power to it. My tachometer, the battery died on it, but anyway, that's about 3,600 RPM right there, give or take. Bring it down to the lowest we can. Now, as you can see, it runs nice and smooth at all speeds, from slow to fast. Runs excellent. It's almost as slow as it goes. Might be able to get a little slower. There we go. So as you can see, this is an excellent runner. Pristine mechanical condition and clean cosmetically. Doesn't smoke, starts easy, runs excellent, has lots of power. And you know, these older Briggs winter engines, these Sno-Gards, they're pretty hard to come by because Tecumseh engines had 90% of the market at the time. So these were only used on 10% of snowblowers. Gilson was one. There was a few companies out there that used Briggs, or used Briggs on a few models, but in general these engines are rare, and they're even rarer now. And with the electric starter on it like that, running this good, it's very rare. And like I said, really doesn't have that many hours on it, as you can tell. I mean, you can see that the spark plug has the original paint on it. That's the original spark plug. The coil I showed, that had the paint on it still. The handle, you can see the red paint on the handle. So, got very little use. Everything on this thing is original, and it is in excellent condition. So it'll be for sale, it'll be on eBay, it'll be on Craigslist, and like I said, it'll ship dry. Somebody out there will be able to enjoy this engine, make their snowblower or whatever they put it on good as new. Okay, thank you.